You've been waiting for this one, and I'm here to give it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, here is my prediction and preview for the national championship game between the Miami Hurricanes and Indiana Hoosiers. Welcome to Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez. Show me to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring that bell, leave your comments. It is 12:27 a.m. right now as I record this on Friday morning. So we're only a few days out from this big time game. I cannot wait. I know you can't wait either. We are just a few days away from having the party of a lifetime at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. We are just a few days away, maybe a couple days after that. We're having a parade. I don't know where the parade will be, but there will be a parade somewhere, whether it's in downtown Miami, whether it's in Coral Gables. I don't know where they're going to rock this thing, but back in the day, they did it in front of the courthouse. Don't know what they're going to do right now, but there will be something somewhere. Let's jump in right here. Here is the preview and prediction for this national championship game between the top ranked 15-0 Indiana Hoosiers and the 10th ranked 13-2 Miami Hurricanes. Whew. But let me give a shout out before I jump in. Natalie Lopez, attorney at law, sponsor of our show. When life hits hard, the law firm of Natalie Lopez hits back harder. She practices in the areas of criminal defense and family law based out of Fort Lauderdale. She covers the entire state of Florida. You can reach her at 954 888-8833, 954-888-8833, and on Instagram at nat.guilty. That's nat.guilty. She will fight for you. Thank you, Natalie, for your continued support of our show. So let's jump in. I think the keys are pretty simple. I don't know that there's a whole lot to say. I don't think this is going to be one of those lengthy previews and predictions that I typically do because I think we all know what's what here. Indiana Hoosiers are undefeated. They have not been beaten. Even in those games that were close, they found a way to get the job done. And for that, you must give them credit because they could have just as easily lost those tough games as they did win those games. And that needs to be respected. They're coming off of two mega wide margin victories in the playoffs, annihilating both Alabama 38-3 and Oregon 56-22. No matter what we think of how that Oregon game looked or how we think Oregon just said, here you go, let me give it to you on a plate. The reality is Indiana Hoosiers beat the doors off of Oregon. Am I shocked that they beat up Oregon? No, not tremendously. 56-22, yeah, that's a surprise. But of course, that had to do with the turnovers and the very, 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 very short field. Something that the Miami Hurricanes can obviously ill afford to give up to this team as they will capitalize on it. But the reality is they have a solid quarterback. I don't think he's great. I think he's solid. They have a solid team. I don't think it's great. I think it's solid. They have an excellent defense, and I will say I think their defense is excellent. I don't care about the points they score on offense because the points they score on offense against some teams is not what they did against others, and the points they put up against those bums, the 9 bums they played in their regular season schedule. Yes, I've talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again. They played 9 bums, and one of those bums was Penn State, and they barely got past Penn State, a 3-5 Penn State team in Happy Valley. Penn State was trash. They survived. They survived. And for everyone that says that Fernando Mendoza does not make mistakes, well, he's made mistakes. So we need to stop that narrative of lies because he's made mistakes. And in the situation that's presented to him, he may make some mistakes again. He has still, to this day, not faced one singular defense that is like the Miami Hurricanes. I'm not making it up. This is not my opinion. This is an actual fact. That is what people need to remember. This is not an opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. But when it comes down to the facts of the situation, Fernando Mendoza has not seen a defense like the Miami Hurricanes, not even from Ohio State. It doesn't matter that the Ohio State Buckeyes have the number 1 ranked defense in the country. Ohio State Buckeyes do not have the pass rush that the Miami Hurricanes have. They don't have it. So what does that mean? That means that the pressure that he saw from Ohio State, which he didn't really see much of, he's going to see a lot of it from the Miami Hurricane defensive front 4, led by Ruben Bain, Akeem Mesdor, David Blake Jr., Ahmad Moten, Justin Scott, Armando Blunt, Marquise Lightfoot, and the crew. That's what he's going to see. He's going to deal with a a crazy psychopath level nickelback in Keontae Scott, who looks to take quarterbacks out. He's going to see a Jacoby Thomas, who, if he puts the ball on on the chest of one of his players, Jacoby Thomas is going to put his helmet through that player's chest as well. So let's see if that player holds on to the ball. He's going to face a defensive secondary that is as good as he's seen all year, including Ohio State. Ohio State has a good one. They got a good one. I don't think Ohio State has the type of hitters that Miami has. I don't think Ohio State, even with what the hell's homeboy's name, Caleb Downs. I mean, he's great, but I don't think he's a hitter like Keontae Scott or Jacoby Thomas. I just don't. Jacoby Thomas has a screw loose. He's crazy. And one thing about crazy, when you got crazy, you're bound to get it something. And those types of hits, they're dangerous. They put people out. Now Miami is dealing with the fact that Xavier Lucas is going to miss the first half unless something's changed that I'm not aware of. He's going to miss the first half due to the archaic, stupid rule of keeping a player out for the first half of the next game because you got ejected for a bogus targeting penalty that wasn't even targeting. That's something that Miami has to deal with. Damari Brown, hopefully he will be able to play. Hopefully. But if he's unable to go, we got young guys that are going to have to step in. OJ Frederick needs to be ready to go and have the game of his life. He's going to be dealing with some tough guys on the outside with Elijah Surratt and Omar Cooper. Then you got to deal with Charlie Becker on the inside. You got to deal with the tight end who's pretty good. You got some players all over the place. And then you have a running attack that has 2,000-yard rushers. You got a tough team to deal with. They can hit you in a variety of ways. And the nonstop glaze job that they do on Fernando Mendoza, God bless him. He's from South Florida. I don't give a damn. I want Miami to knock his brains in. And don't tell me that he's thrown 8 touchdowns and 5 incompletions in the 2 games. I don't care about that. Those are those stupid stats that just don't move me because at the end of the day, those games weren't close. And it wasn't because of Fernando Mendoza that they won those games. Like, they ran the ball very, very well. They've run the ball 90 times in 2 games. They won the ball. They won both of those games with defense and running the football. And that should give you the clear key to the game. Miami has got to stop the run with the front 4. More than any other thing in this game, Miami has got to stop the run with the front 4. And then from that, turn Indiana into a pass-happy team. Make Fernando Mendoza throw the ball 35, 40 times. If you make Mendoza throw the ball 35 to 40 times, I'm telling you right now, it would be utterly shocking if the Miami Hurricanes are not crowned national champions on Monday night. And the reason I bring that up is if you look at Fernando Mendoza this season, and I'll bring this up right now on my screen because, of course, I'm a little bit behind. I apologize. Oh, here we go. Fernando Mendoza did not throw the ball more than 31 times this season in any singular game. He threw the ball 31 times against Old Dominion, 31 times against Oregon in their first game, and 30 times against Penn State. Otherwise, he threw 28 versus Michigan State. In every other game besides that, he threw the ball 25 times or less. If he has to throw the ball 30 plus times, Indiana is going to have a hard time winning this football game because that means the Miami Hurricanes are 1, shutting down the run, and 2, Indiana's probably playing from behind. Because don't get it twisted. The Oregon game was 20-20 in the fourth quarter. 20-20 in the fourth quarter. Indiana trailed ODU in that game. Okay. Now, the Penn State game, they trailed in that game as well in the fourth quarter. So what you have is a correlation there of stop the run, make him throw it. It won't be that damn easy for him. And when you make him throw it, what then happens? You can pin back your ears. You can go after his ass and put him on the ground. You can expect to see that they're probably going to adjust their offensive scheme a bit and look more to the short passing game, for which that means the Miami Hurricanes defensive backs have got to be up under the chins of Surratt, of Omar Cooper, of Charlie Becker, and the crew. You've got to be up under their chins. You can't be playing 10 yards off the ball, bailing out. You've got to be up under them. You can't let them beat you deep naturally. And of course, when you have the opportunity to do so, and the opportunity will come because it comes in every single game, it's just a matter of you making the play. When he throws that ball to you, you got to come up with the interception. And the difference of that Ole Miss game to that Ohio State game was against Ohio State, Miami had that pick six. Against Ole Miss, they dropped four of them, two pick sixes. They dropped them, and that allowed Ole Miss to stay in that game that they or otherwise getting their asses kicked in. Do I expect Miami to have the ball for 41 and a half minutes against Indiana? Probably not. But I do expect Miami to be able to run the football against them. I do expect the Miami's duo attack to go to do smash mouth against that defensive line. And I'm going to sit here and see if they dare move 8 guys into the box. If they dare say Carson Beck beat me and try to make sure that they stop the run. But at the same time, there will be other options that didn't otherwise exist about 7-8 weeks ago when Miami still hadn't played Gerard Pringle yet. Now, do I think Gerard Pringle's going to get a lot of time? Probably not. But I do think that if Indiana dares bring 8 dudes into the box, Gerard Pringle could see some action for outside the box, outside the edges runs, or potentially potential swing passes or wheel routes, which could put the Indiana defense in a predicament because they might not be completely prepared for that. We ran that wheel route, I think, one time this year, threw it one time, touchdown. Was that against Pitt or I don't remember which game it was. It was Virginia Tech, one of those games. I think it was the Virginia Tech game. We ran it one time basically, and that was a touchdown. So stopping the run is the key to stopping Indiana because stopping the run is what makes Fernando Mendoza have to throw the football because he doesn't otherwise throw the football. This guy isn't Cam Ward. This guy isn't even Julian Sane. I don't care what they say about him. I think he's solid. That's what I think. Miami saw this dude last year for Cal. They know what he can do well. They know he has a good arm. They know that he has great ball placement. But we got to stop acting like this guy's ball placement is like the second coming of Aaron Rodgers. Like, I mean, we need to stop that noise for a second because the reality remains he didn't have a lot of high leverage situations this season. He didn't. Ohio State shut down Indiana, whether you like it or not. They shut them down. 13 points is 13 points. If Miami holds Indiana to 13 points, Miami's going to win this game easily. I mean, I'm keeping it a buck. If Miami holds Indiana to 13 points, Miami wins this game by 2 touchdowns. Or at least two scores. I mean, 2 scores. 2 scores. Miami plays the way it can play, the way it can play. And I think when people talk about if you play your best against their best, who wins? I think Miami plays their best and Indiana plays their best. Miami wins that game every single time. But of course, like I said before, when you play your best, the team typically doesn't play their best because you've made them not play their best because you're playing your best. Unless you say you're both playing your best and then you have a 3-0 game or a 7-3 game or a 10-3 game or a 10-7 game because the defenses are just that elite. Could that happen in this game like Texas A&M? It could. I don't think it will because I don't think we expect to having the temperature on Monday night will be cool. It will be probably in the 60s. It'll be a cooler night on Monday night. Let me look at the temperature ahead of time. It's not expected to be bad weather, but it's going to be cool. It's going to be a little bit chilly out there for South Florida weather. Like tomorrow, it's expected to be about 40. So you're going to have some cool weather. And let me see specifically what the temperature is going to look like. Where's the 10-day forecast? But it's gonna be a cool night. 10-day low of 55. Low of 55. So you could see it somewhere in the 55 to 65 degree range. I mean, obviously that doesn't bother us because we just went to Pittsburgh and took care of business up there. But again, you have a situation here where this guy has not seen a real pass rush. No one that he's faced amongst the Power 4 conferences has more than 35 sacks. Miami has 47. And yes, Indiana's got 45 sacks, so they are a good pass rush team too. Miami's offense line has their work cut out for them against the pass rush. No question about it. They're going to do a lot of stunts. They're going to try to do some trickeration type stuff. because the reality is, man on man, if good big gets their hands on good little's going to sleep. Good little will go to sleep. So they're going to have to do some blitzes, some stunts, some twists and turns and whatever the hell else to try to get towards Carson Beck on the pass. But the first thing they have to do is try to stop Miami's run. Can they do that? Remains to be seen. Miami's had success running the ball on everybody in the playoffs, including Ohio State. And I expect Miami to have success in this game too. I think Miami runs the ball for 175 yards or more. I think Miami gashes them up the middle. I think Miami continues to do the things that they've been doing and continues to play power football and dominate time of possession and dominate the line of scrimmage. It's crazy in itself that that against Ohio State, the same comments that were made by these same national pundits of Miami has the better offensive line and the better defensive line, yet I'm going to pick Ohio State. And I've said this a few times already, and I'm going to say it again. Everyone knows that Miami's the better O-line and the better D-line in this game against Indiana. And guess what? They're still picking Indiana because of Fernando Mendoza now. Now he's the reason. Because they don't make mistakes, so they don't turn the ball over. They have turned the ball over. In those games that they had situations in, they did turn the ball over. So they can be had. They're not some dominant, one of the greatest of all time types of teams. They're not one of those teams. Like, we need to stop acting like they are. They're a good squad. Miami has a good squad. Neither of these teams I would call elite in the grand scheme of history of college football. They're both really, really good teams. But Miami does have an elite defense. And Indiana does have an elite defense. And I do think the defenses are going to play a big role in who wins this football game. A bigger role than you think. Someone's going to create a turnover that's going to change this game. And I do believe it's going to be the Miami defense that does that, because I think the Miami defensive line is going to get to Fernando Mendoza. I think they're going to make him run for his life. I think they're going to make him think about what he went through when he was a kid in high school and have memories of maybe playing against some of these teams in South Florida where he had to run for his life, because there's immense speed on that defense. And they're going to be chasing his ass all over the field. You're going to want him to think about making that first pass, that read. They're going to want to make him think twice about everything. And you're going to see sometimes where you're going to see Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesdor on one side of the football, and then a blind blitzer coming from the other side, and like, oh no. And then, of course, you have to corral him. You have got to keep your gap integrity. You have to keep your lanes. You cannot let him get off. Absolutely. But it definitely starts up front with stopping the run. You stop the run, you win this football game, period. That's it. Carson Beck's going to have a game. I have a feeling about it. Just like I had a feeling he'd do it against Ole Miss. He's back in his home stadium, the stadium he started the season on. You know what he did in the first game of his life in the Miami Hurricane uniform? He won the game over Notre Dame. He won the game. He won the game. I expect Malachi Tony to go off. I expect Keelan Marion to have another big time game. I'm looking for some plays out of Alex Bauman, believe it or not. And I think Mark Fletcher busts 100+ yards rushing the ball again. So, and of course, Miami has a good kicker who can hit it from 50. It could come down to a field goal. People will talk about coaching. There is that coaching element. Mario Cristobal and Curt Cignetti were both colleagues in Alabama. Corey Heatherman worked for Curt Cignetti. Like, there's so many storylines within the storyline in this game. It's unbelievably crazy. It's unbelievably crazy how these two teams are so intertwined, from having the South Florida guys in Indiana, because there's like 8 or 9 of them from South Florida at Indiana. You see who plays the best football? South Florida boys. We've always said it. The best talent in the country comes out of South Florida. It always always will. Carson Beck's going to have himself a performance. The offense line's going to dominate the line of scrimmage. The defense line's going to do their job again, put pressure on Fernando Mendoza the entire game. And you're going to have a freaking party in Miami Gardens on Monday night. You can give me all the numbers of third down conversions and all that stuff. At the end of the day, this will come down to stop the run, play clean, and who's got the bigger fucking balls. That's it. Miami Hurricanes 23, Indiana 17. You heard it here. That's all I got. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Miami Hurricanes will be national champions on Monday night. 23-17. It's Hurricanes Unfiltered, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, grab your merch. It's up and in the store right now. HurricanesUnfiltered.com. Hit the merch link, man. I appreciate you. God bless. It's all about the you. Let's go. Come on now.